Today I'm giving you a first look at the potential of the newest Trainz simulator version TRS2019, including great quality graphics, quality 3D textures, revised user interface, better performance and dozens of other improvements that make this the most exciting release ever from the Trainz developers. So let's get into it. As you can see here, the icon for both TANE SP3 and TRS2019 both look very similar and have the same functional menu system. As such, there is nothing new except the image background. But beneath this deceptive similarity lurks a wholly different animal. It is fair to say TRS2019 started life as a TANE SP3 clone, but it has quickly grown from a plain Jane into a dynamic and exciting potential Trainz simulator winner. Let's start by exploring the user interface of TRS2019 and highlight the changes, new features and occasional, if minor, changes that are not so popular with everyone. Here we see the opening screen which shows there are 4 options: Driver Surveyor, My Collection, More Content and Learn to Drive, which is a fancy title for tutorials. I'll bypass the Driver Surveyor option for now and have a look at the collection screen. And this one shows clearly one of the minor shortcomings of having so many items in a particular category. Here the scrolling is clumsy and hard to follow what the items are while scrolling, as the titles don't always clarify exactly what it is, and many items are missing relevant thumbnails to help identify. As you can see, I can take some time navigating from one end to the other. As I mentioned later in the routes option, if you have many routes, it's not much better. The final option labelled Learn to Drive. Not sure that's any better than just calling it a tutorial. We'll show you the current range of available tutorials for TRS2019. Let's go back to the main menu and start with the Driver Surveyor option. However, I would like to start by comparing it to the TANE SP3 equivalent screen, so you can see just how radically different TRS2019 user interface is compared to the previous version. When you open TANE SP3, this is the screen that first comes up and gives on your left hand side the name of the route, and on the right side a few meaningless numbers and an indication of the status of the route, whether it's new or not. And it's fairly easy to quickly scroll down if you have a large number of routes installed. Now let's have a look at TRS2019. Here is a lot more real estate is used to display the route description in a larger thumbnail. Along the bottom are smaller versions of the thumbnail for all the routes installed. Along with the main menu button, and buttons which you can use to decide whether you want to edit the route or create a route or view sessions, my only concern is if you have a lot of routes, the scrolling can get out of hand, as you tend to look at the thumbnails and then glance down to the description name of the route below, which is not all that easy, and often the description name is cut short. There's also a handy function just below the main thumbnail that allows you to selectively pick a route or range of routes to look at. I must say, despite my reservations, I have become comfortable with the new graphical format and I don't have any real issues with it. What do you think? Here we're looking at TANE SP3 session display user interface. Note there are 3 standard sessions, being Avis Yardwork, Multiplayer and Thermond Empties. The green items are payware sessions that you can purchase. So switching over to TRS2019, you have the same 3 sessions plus Quick Drive. There is no payware session shown because at this time in Early Access they've not yet been made available. Note that as this is a TANE SP3 version of the Hinton route, it does not cater to provide a unique thumbnail for each session. Something I assume will happen in TRS2019 Early Access with TRS2019 native routes. I certainly have no intention of going into any great detail on the settings in TRS2019, mainly because even in the Early Access version just released, it's quite possible that some of the settings will change or even be added to. So this is just a quick look to confirm the settings are much the same as in TANE SP3. I will comment on a couple of things that have been added, and I'll state that the general settings in the Install tab are much the same as TANE SP3. The Performance tab, however, has had the most change, and it is somewhat critical to get these right to maximise the performance you can get on your machine. Even my system, which is configured in the top 4% of PCs, can struggle a bit with some maximum settings. Once early access matures a bit, I may take a look at the settings in more detail. I will mention here that the checkbox, second from the bottom, called Use PhysX Simulation, is unchecked. I found this really messed up the smoke coming out of steam engines when turned on, particularly those that were native to TANE SP3, so I do suggest leave that off. I'm not going to make any comments on the Dev tab at this time, as it is mainly used when involved in beta testing a root. Now let's have a look at a typical route and how it looks in TRS2019. This is a section of the Pennsylvania and Ohio route I'm building in TRS2019, but which started life in TANE SP3. For those of you that have routes in progress in TANE, it should be okay to move them across relatively trouble-free. Some very old DLC may give issues, but I've not had any problems myself. Notice a completely different controller here. I'm using the advanced controller. I find the basic is just not good enough for steamers. I will do a separate video shortly on the full user interface of TRS2019, but for now I suggest watch this video and get a good idea of the capability of this exciting new version of Trainz with a Z or Z. Well, that's it from me. If you'd like to see more of TRS 2019, I strongly recommend you subscribe using the button below this video. In the meantime, I'll leave you with a final and typical scene where the train slowly disappears into the distance. In this case, a soulful wail in warning as it approaches a road unseen. Hooroo for now.